Bonjour French 1 students. Here is your teaching video for lesson 3B. Textbook pages 48 through 51. S'il vous plaît, ouvrez vos livres à la page 48. Lesson 3, Video Scène B. Au café. This afternoon, Trine and Celine went shopping. They are now tired and thirsty. Trine invites Celine to a cafe. Please follow along as I read. Scène 1. Trine, Celine. Tu as soif? Oui, j'ai soif. On va dans un café? Je t'invite. D'accord. Scène 2. Le garçon, Celine, Trine. Vous désirez, mademoiselle? Un jus d'orange, s'il vous plaît. Et pour vous, monsieur, donnez-moi une limonade, s'il vous plaît. Scène 3, le garçon, Celine, Trine. Ah, Celine, la limonade, c'est pour vous, mademoiselle? Non, c'est pour moi. Ah, excusez-moi. Voici le jus d'orange, mademoiselle. Merci. And you see down at the bottom it tells you that une limonade is a popular, inexpensive soft drink with a slight lemon flavor. So it's not necessarily what you think of as lemonade. So, working through the translation here, we have in scene 1 with Trine and Celine. Trine starts by asking, "Are you thirsty?" And Celine answers, "Yes, I'm thirsty." Trine asks, "Shall we go to a cafe? I'm treating or I'm inviting you." And Celine says, "Okay." Scene 2, the waiter, Celine and Trine. The waiter starts by asking, "May I help you, miss?" And Celine answers, "An orange juice, please." And the waiter asks, "And for you, sir?" And Trine answers, "Give me a lemonade, please." Scene 3, the waiter, Celine, and Trine. The waiter starts by saying to Celine, "The lemonade, it's for you, miss." And Trine says, "No, it's for me." The waiter says, "Oh, excuse me, here is the orange juice, miss. Thank you." So again, this is introducing you to the new vocabulary in this lesson, which is in the yellow vocabulary box on page 49. Remember that before you take your quiz over lesson 3, you will need to know the meaning and the spelling of all the vocabulary in this yellow box. So you see it starts with how to say that you are thirsty. So we have the j'ai soif and tu as soif. How to order in a cafe, we have vous désirez and je voudrais. And how to request something. Now notice that there's sort of two different forms because again, we have this familiar that we use with a friend or a member of our family, and we have this formal that we use with an adult or someone we don't know well. We're also going to use the formal one in a restaurant or a cafe. Okay, and this familiar one we would use like at a friend's house. So again, we're seeing kind of two different ways to address people depending upon whether the person is someone we know well, like a friend or a member of our family, or whether the person is an adult and someone we don't know well. And these formal one, we also can think of this as being the polite form. So, s'il vous plaît, répétez, j'ai soif. J'ai soif. Tu as soif. Tu as soif. Vous désirez. Vous désirez. Je voudrais. Je voudrais. Over here. Vous désirez. Je voudrais un jus d'orange. Si te plaît, donne-moi. S'il te plaît, donne-moi. S'il te plaît, donne-moi. Si vous plaît, donnez-moi. S'il vous plaît, donnez-moi. S'il vous plaît, donnez-moi. So the little arrow there says, note that French people have two ways of saying please. They use s'il te plaît with friends and s'il vous plaît with adults. As we will see later, young people address their friends as tu, and adults they do not know very well as vous. So again, your book is kind of pointing out some information about some grammar, not making a huge big deal about it here, but wanting you to start to notice that there are differences in the way we address people depending upon who that person is. Next we have les boissons, which are beverages. We have un soda, which is like pop, un jus d'orange, which is orange juice, un jus de pomme, which is apple juice, un jus de tomate, which is tomato juice, un jus de raisin, which is grape juice. And you'll notice again there's a star, and down at the bottom of your page it tells you jus de raisin is a golden colored juice made from grapes. So it's like white grape juice, which we can find here in the United States. But in France, un jus de raisin would always be white grape juice. Un limonade, which again is that soft drink with a slight lemon flavor. Excuse me. Un café, which is a coffee. Un thé, which is hot tea, or tea, really. And then un chocolat, which is hot chocolate. S'il vous plaît, répétez les boissons. Les boissons. Un soda. Un soda. Un jus d'orange. Un jus d'orange. Un jus de pomme. Un jus de pomme. Un jus de tomate. Un jus de tomate. Un jus de raisin. Un jus de raisin. Une limonade. Une limonade. Un café. Un café. Un thé. Un thé. Un chocolat. Un chocolat. So again, remember we've talked about the fact that in French, all nouns are either masculine or feminine, right? Again, your book started by talking about nouns that referred to people, because with people, it sort of makes sense that a word that describes a male person would be masculine, and a word that describes a female person would be feminine. Okay, but in lesson 3A, you learned about food items, and some of those food items were masculine and some of the food items were feminine. Now we see beverages, and again, some of these beverages are masculine and some are feminine. So the definite articles, okay, just kind of a little review of what we've talked about so far. The definite articles mean the. And the masculine singular definite article is le, and the feminine singular is la. And what we have to remember about both of these is these both become L apostrophe before a vowel or a silent H. Now the indefinite articles mean a or an. The masculine singular indefinite article is un, and the feminine singular one is un. The possessive adjectives that mean my are, the masculine singular one is mon, and the feminine singular one is ma. And for your, it's ton and ta. And we actually have also talked, or will talk here shortly, about some subject pronouns. And so we have il, which could mean either he or it, and it's an it for a masculine singular noun. And we have elle, which is she or it, and again it's it for a feminine singular noun. So remember that when you are taking a vocabulary quiz, on your vocabulary quiz, if I ask you for tea, you have to include the with it. So you can either put un thé or you could put le thé. Just like in English, we never say the my tea. They don't in English or in French either. So we just use one of these articles at a time. So again, that's kind of a little review, okay, of the articles that you've seen so far. So we have a note culturelle about le café. The café is a favorite gathering place for French young people. They go there not only when they are hungry or thirsty, but also to meet their friends. They can sit at a table and talk for hours over a cup of coffee or a glass of juice. French young people also enjoy mineral water and soft drinks. In a French cafe, a 15% service charge is included in the check. However, most people also leave some small change as an added tip. So just talking about the fact that a spot where French teenagers hang out quite a bit is a cafe. This is pretty easy for them because there are lots and lots of cafes. Every city and town, no matter its size, is going to have a cafe. So the food and the drinks there are typically fairly inexpensive. So it's a pretty popular spot for teenagers to go and to hang out. All right, your textbook likes these silly little cartoons. So here we have vous désirez un jus de tomate, s'il vous plaît. So here we have the waiter asking, may I help you, to a giraffe. And the giraffe can talk and says, a tomato juice, please. And the waiter, being a smart waiter and recognizing that a giraffe has a really long neck, brings him a really long straw for his drink. All right, the petit comité. At a cafe, French young people often order carbonated soft drinks. They also enjoy natural beverages such as flavored mineral water or juice. In larger cities, one can find inviting juice bars that offer a wide selection of freshly blended fruit drinks. So again, they're just basically saying that, again, French teenagers are a lot like you. They like to drink the same kinds of things that you enjoy drinking. All right, exercise 1. We're going to do this one out loud. Tu as soif. You have invited a French friend to your house. You offer a choice of beverages and your friend, played by a classmate, responds. Now, you're just going to be a little bit multi-personality here because you're going to say both the question and the answer. So look at our example prompt. We have un thé ou un chocolat. Okay. So the question is, tu veux un thé ou un chocolat? And our answer is, donne-moi un chocolat, s'il te plaît. So the part of this question that'll be the same every time is the tu veux, and then we'll use whatever they've given us in the prompt. And then the part of the answer that's the same every time is donne-moi and s'il te plaît. And you get to choose which of the two choices you would prefer, okay? So for this is your choice. Of the two that are presented to you, which one you prefer. So, number 1, we have un thé ou un café. Tu veux un thé ou un café? Donne-moi un thé, s'il te plaît. Now, the fact that we're using s'il te plaît, right, that's telling us that we are talking to a friend or a family member, right? And they tell us in the directions here we're talking to a French friend. But the fact that we're using this donne-moi and the s'il te plaît tells us that. All right, exercise or number 2, une limonade ou un soda? Tu veux une limonade ou un soda? Donne-moi une limonade, s'il te plaît. Toi, un jus de pomme ou un jus d'orange? Tu veux un jus de pomme ou un jus d'orange? Donne-moi un jus de pomme, s'il te plaît. Numéro 4, un jus de raisin ou un jus de tomate? Tu veux un jus de raisin ou un jus de tomate? Donne-moi un jus de tomate, s'il te plaît. Again, if you need a little bit more time or you want to practice those again, you may do so. All right, look at the prononciation, l'accent final. In French, the rhythm is very even and the accent always falls on the last syllable of a word or group of words. S'il vous plaît, répétez Philippe, Thomas, Alice, Sophie, Dominique. Un café. Je voudrais un café. Une salade. Donnez-moi une salade. Un chocolat. Donne-moi un chocolat. Right? So in this first sentence, we have I would like a cafe, and that is probably taking place in a restaurant or cafe because we're using that more polite form of je voudrais. Here we have give me a salad. Again, this is that more polite form, so this is probably taking place in a cafe or a restaurant. And then we have give me a hot chocolate. Again, the fact that this is just the donne-moi means that this is that more familiar, so this is probably taking place in someone's home. So your homework is on page 46, exercise 2, and on page 47, exercise 4. Let's take a look at exercise 2 first. Au café, you are in a French cafe. Get the attention of the waiter, monsieur, or the waitress, mademoiselle, and place your order. Act out the dialogue with a classmate. Now, again, we're not going to act it out, right? You're going to write it out. So you're going to write out all 3 parts of this. So notice our prompt here is the picture of the orange juice. So we have monsieur, s'il vous plaît, vous désirez, un jus d'orange, s'il vous plaît. So this whole phrase here is going to stay the same every time. So hopefully by the time you write monsieur, s'il vous plaît 6 times, you'll be able to spell it correctly. The vous désirez is going to stay the same all 6 times. In the answer, all that's going to change is the un jus d'orange, so the s'il vous plaît will stay the same all 6 times. And you'll just substitute in whatever the item is. So, for number 1, on my paper, I would write Okay. Monsieur, s'il vous plaît. And remember, I would encourage you to type it out so that you're practicing using your accent marks. And then, vous désirez. And then, that's a hot chocolate, so it's going to be un chocolat, s'il vous plaît. So that was what you would write out for number 1. You'd write out like that for the other 5 as well. Exercise 4. La femme et la soif. You are having a meal in a French cafe. Order the food suggested in the picture. Then order something to drink with that dish. A classmate will play the part of the waiter. Note, et avec ça means and with that. So again, we're not going to be playing this, right? We're going to be writing this. And again, we're going to write out all of this for good practice. Okay? So again, the parts that are going to stay the same every time, the waiter's always going to start with vous désirez. And you're always going to order politely using je voudrais. And then you're going to substitute in, right? This is a picture of steak and fries, so that's why it's on steak frites. Et avec ça is going to stay the same every time. And then, again, you're always going to be polite and use s'il vous plaît. So, again, for number 1 with the omelette, okay, you're going to have vous désirez. Je voudrais. Okay. Une omelette. Et avec ça. Okay. And then you get to pick, right, what drink you'd like. So it's morning, it's an omelette, so I'm going to say un café, s'il vous plaît. Right, but you get to pick what drink item you'd like with the food. Okay, so you're going to write out something like that for all 4 of those. Au revoir, à demain.